Did you know that Scotland is one of the most highly visited countries in the world? And it's easy to see what all the fuss is about, from sky-high museums to art galleries and restaurants, and most importantly, beautiful cities with picturesque views that celebrate art, culture, history, and nature. Scotland is just the right place for your next vacation. In this video, we'll be checking out some of the best places you could ever visit in Scotland, along with some of the most beautiful attractions in these cities. So make sure to stay tuned to the end, because it's bound to be an interesting ride. Number 15. Dunfermline. Dunfermline might be one of the 79 cities in Scotland, but it stands out for its rich royal history. This city was once known as a royal stronghold, and indeed, it was by all means a royal stronghold. It featured the once magnificent Dunfermline Palace, which now lies in ruins, offering people an unrestricted view of the palace. Since Dunfermline rarely has a high inflow of tourists, you can enjoy peaceful walks down the Pitton Creek Park, or make a stop by the city's library and galleries. Now on to the next. Number 14. St. Andrews. It's none other than St. Andrews, a city frequented by both tourists and residents. It is popular for its golf courses and golf tournaments, which makes it an amazing city for relaxing and socializing with the locals. Since Scotland is a city that puts its kings and queens above all else, it's no wonder that it has a golf course built especially for the royals. The royal and ancient golf course of St. Andrews is the most famous golf course in the city, but luckily enough, they allow tourists to book a visit if they can afford to pay. You can also visit the Old Course, an ancient 18-hole golf course that was found in the 15th century, showing how much Scottish royalty had always loved golfing. But that's not all. Since St. Andrews also has a university in the area, there are many activities geared towards students that make nightlife interesting, such as clubbing. Number 13. Falkirk. If you're a fan of all things art and culture, then you will definitely fall in love with Falkirk. Falkirk isn't too far from Edinburgh, which happens to be one of Scotland's major cities. It's quite popular for its 30-meter-high statues, especially the statue of the Kelpies, two massive horse heads that tell the tale of a mythological creature that lured men into water to drown. The horses are surrounded by keeping true to the storyline. They're also placed close to the Falkirk Wheel, a rotating boat system that joins two canals together. Tourists who feel confident enough can try taking a ride on the Falkirk Wheel. But if you're not brave enough to even face a Ferris wheel, then you might want to take a step back from the Falkirk. Number 12. Portree. Next on the list is none other than Portree, which is literally the magic key to a fantasy island. When looking for a way to get off the Scottish mainland while staying on the beautiful tourist trails, you should definitely visit Portree. And it's got the most enchanting activities to make it worth your while. From the enchanting Old Man of Store hike to a trip to the iconic Lump or the ferry pools. And let's not forget the Corran Beach. You'll be dizzy by the time you're done exploring all these sites and more at Portree. Number 11. Oban. A trip to Portree will definitely make you smile. But have you considered a visit to Oban? Oban is a resort center that receives an insanely large number of visitors during the summer, and for good reason. Most locals would call it the Scottish seafood capital, while others call it the Hebridean Islands. Regardless of the reason you chose to visit this town, you'll definitely fall in love with the stunning views from all sides. You can either choose to go whiskey tasting at Oban Distillery, or visit Oban's large hoard of castles, such as the Dunstafang Castle and the Guylan Castle. Art and history lovers will easily fall in love with the Duneill Museum and McCaig's Tower. Number 10. Ayr. Ayr is another beautiful tourist hotspot in Scotland that's popularly known for its summer-style location with sandy beaches and turquoise-colored waters that are cool to touch. For lovers of beautiful poetry, Robert Burns, one of the greatest poets alive, was born in Ayr, and rumor has it that viewing this beauty every day was one of the artist's inspirations. You can easily take a walk to the Robert Burns Birthplace Museum during your stay, but it's not just beaches and arcades that make Ayr a sight to see. You can also visit other attractions in the town, such as the Roselle Estate, Bellaseal Conservatory, Burns Cottage, and the Alloway Auld Kirk. Number 9. Fort William. If you're looking for the perfect place for outdoor activities in Scotland, look no further than Fort William. While it serves as the gateway to Loch Lynn and Ben Nevis, Fort William also leads to the best skiing scene in Scotland. And that's not all. Hiking lovers can also enjoy views from the highest peaks in the UK at Fort William, while taking proud strides. From skiing to fishing to hiking, museum sightseeing, or even relaxing in a nearby cafe, Fort William has a lot of activities to get your heart rate up and pumping. Number 8. Kirkwall. Kirkwall might not be a city, but it's one of the most magnificent places that you could ever visit in Scotland. filled with buckloads of attractions such as the Orkney Museum, St. Magnus Cathedral, and the Highland Park Whiskey Distillery for whiskey lovers. The Kirkwall is one of the best locations you could ever choose to visit in Scotland, especially if you're trying to avoid the crowd of tourists. But be careful though, this town is famous for being intertwined with werewolves and other paranormal creatures. Number 7. Stirling. Remember what we said about Scotland celebrating history and royalty? We shared as if we weren't kidding. Stirling is one of the most historically rich cities in Scotland, with an even more incredible political history. It was in this same city that Mary Queen was crowned Queen of the Scots, while rebellions were planned against the English. The city features many artifacts and monumental architecture, such as the Stirling Castle, which has open-air views of the battleground of the Battle of Stirling Bridge, where William Wallace defeated the English in 1297. William Wallace also has a monument dedicated to his name, which happens to be one of the most popular attractions in Scotland. It features William Wallace's longsword, which has an impressive length of 1.63 meters. You could also visit places such as Stirling Castle, the Old Town Jail, the Holy Rood, or spend some time staring at the statue of Robert the Bruce. Number 6. Dundee. Dundee is another beautiful city in Scotland that's popular for its creative culture. It's not only a UNESCO City of Design, but also the 4th largest city in the country, with the only other V&A museum in the United Kingdom that's not in London. There are so many exciting activities to do in Dundee, such as visiting Discovery Point, the Contemporary Arts Museum, RRS Discovery, Scotland's Jute Museum, Dundee Science Centre, and the Art Gallery and Museum. Sounds like a lot, right? It sure is. Number 5. Inverness. Inverness is another fantastic place to visit in Scotland. Recently made popular due to the reshared legends of the Loch Ness, Inverness has been receiving an influx of visitors in the past year. Rumor has it that the Loch Ness is the home of the great sea monster and the Culloden battlefield, which was the last standpoint of the Jacobite uprising. It is one of the best places in Scotland where you can learn about the darker history of the UK and early life in Scotland. But to view things from a lighter perspective, you could visit the Upquart Castle, which has a fairy tale-like atmosphere to it. Number 4. Glasgow. When it comes to one of the most beautiful places with entertaining activities in Scotland, look no further than Glasgow. Glasgow is known for having an incredibly high number of museums and parks, such as the Glasgow Green, Richmond Park, and Pollock Country Park. You could also visit the Kelvin Grove Art Gallery and Museum, George Square, or the Glasgow Cathedral. But while you're at it, make sure to explore the shops for beautiful souvenirs, or visit the restaurants in the city centre. Number 3. Aberdeen. Aberdeen is another fascinating place to visit in Scotland. Although it's more commonly populated by the industrial population of Scotland, it's known for being a port city that has made a name for itself while producing granite. It also has some tourist attractions for sore eyes, such as the Gordon Highlanders Museum, the Aberdeen Art Gallery, and Duthie Park. Number 2. Perth. Perth comes in second for these beautiful places to visit in Scotland, and it's easy to see why. This riverside city was once the capital city of Scotland, but still remains home to many historical events. Some of the best things to do in Perth are visit Elcho Castle, Black Watch Museum, Branklin Garden, Ferguson Gallery, and Perth Museum and Art Gallery. But to get a full taste of the city's royal history, you should make a visit to Scone Palace. The palace was once the crowning place of Scottish kings. It's no wonder it earns a regal spot among the most beautiful places to visit in the city. Number 1. Edinburgh. When thinking of the best place to visit in Scotland, there couldn't be a more obvious place than Edinburgh. Edinburgh is the capital city of Scotland and home to some of the most beautiful buildings and attractions. Whether it's a short walk to Arthur's Seat to catch the magnificent sunset or climbing the Scott Monument, it could also come in the form of a visit to the Royal Mile, which happens to be one of Scotland's best shopping malls. A visit to Scotland will definitely leave you wanting for more. Which of these tourist attractions fascinating you the most? And which of them would you like to visit? Let us know in the comments section below. That's all for today's video. We look forward to seeing you in the next one.